Okay, so hi. Welcome. If you don't know my channel already, my channel is Down to Earth Data Science. I'm recording this late at night. This is the AI Late Night Show. Just as an introduction, my name is Annie. I've been in the data science field for about 7 years, and recently it occurred to me that I don't know what the hell has happened in the past year. I have been in this field under the umbrella of AI or artificial intelligence, and I've never really seen a time like this. There's so much hype around this term artificial intelligence, and just like so many men. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against men, but if you go to YouTube, and I'm going there right now, and you just type in the term AI, it's just video after video of men talking about AI, which is totally fine, but I just find it interesting. And the women that are represented on this page are the robots. So anyway, I decided to join the conversation because I'm super curious about why this past year AI and the term AI has gained so much hype, and I have a lot of questions that I think a lot of people also have. So here we go. So what has been happening for the past year? You're probably one of 3 types of people. So either one, you are reading tech news every day, you know about the latest generative AI models. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then do not worry, because that's a small minority of people. 2, you're like me and you feel like you're running to catch the train every day and just missing the train flat out. Or 3, you just like heard the word ChatGPT and you like buried your head in the sand and you were like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to know about it. I just want to collect berries on a summer evening. So I just want to start with talking about what is ChatGPT. I'm just going to read from the Wikipedia page, which is still probably not in layman's terms, but that's okay. So ChatGPT, which stands for Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer, is a large language model-based chatbot developed by OpenAI. Bam. Let's stop there. We get it. ChatGPT is a chatbot, and you may or may not know that because you may have used it. You can ask it questions. You can ask it to do things for you. I mean, there's just an unlimited list of things that ChatGPT can do for you. You can log in, I'll put the link here, but you can log into the ChatGPT website through OpenAI, and you can actually use it and like interface with it. It says here that it's generative. There's a distinction between ChatGPT and Google, and that's because Google or any other search engine is just that. It's a search engine. So the way that it's looking for information when you ask a question or when you Google something, it's different than how ChatGPT works. Generative means that ChatGPT is actually generating the language that it's spitting back out to you as it's working. If you Google, what are the top vacation spots in Mexico? Google will spit out a list of websites that have that information on it, whereas ChatGPT will generate the language or like the response language to answer your question, and it will pull together answers for your question based on what it knows about Mexico. So it says, again, it's a chat generative pre-trained transformer, and it's a large language model based chatbot. For some context, like when I say the word model, I'm talking about an algorithm. You could use the word model and algorithm interchangeably. When we say ChatGPT, we're referring to an actual chatbot, but then when we say large language model, we're talking about the base behind the chatbot. The foundation that chatbot sits on that makes it so smart is an algorithm or a model. People have been building models and algorithms for years, but as soon as ChatGPT gets released in November of 2022, there's this whole new conversation around it. I now have people who are in my network who they have no clue what I do for a living, but they're suddenly like, AI, have you heard about AI? And I'm like, yeah, I've heard of it maybe a few times. So ChatGPT, again, it's this chatbot. ChatGPT itself is a generative chatbot, so it'll generate content as you're asking it. And it's based on this large language model, and large meaning that it's huge. It's trained on trillions of data points. What the transformer part of that model is doing is basically like transforming language into a readable format for an algorithm so that it can learn that language. The only other thing I would say is that it's super hard to understand ChatGPT. It feels like a black box, but I also just want to reiterate that ChatGPT is based on mathematical theory and concepts that have been around for many, many years. Even though there are certain layers to ChatGPT that are a little bit of a mystery, and like we don't know exactly what these large language models are doing. In general, we still have a lot of control over how they're built and how they're trained. And if you're looking for someone like I am to blame for all of this, we can definitely blame the godfather of AI, Jeff Hinton. I'm totally kidding. I don't really know him as a person. I've heard him speak on several different podcasts and in several different articles this year. So I'm not like blaming this man, but he's been in the game for a long time. And although he's not the only person who invented AI, I think he's just like one example of someone where he's been working on AI since the 70s. All right, so we have this guy, Jeff Hinton, the godfather of AI, and he's studying neuroscience, but he's like, all right, we are never going to be able to model the human brain because the original way of trying to model the human brain was like step by step trying to put all the information that people knew into the code. So like line by line, coding every bit of information. So obviously you can see the problem with this. That would just take years and years and years past our lifetime. Instead of thinking about the way that the human brain works being this linear thing where we just like collect information in our brains and that's how we learn, different researchers started working on other ways of modeling the brain, trying to actually build a system that allowed a computer to learn on its own instead of having to input information line by line into the computer. And so over time, this is going all the way into the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s. So Jeff Hinton was trying to make artificial neural networks. If you don't know what a neural network is, it's basically like a network in the brain that fires different neurons, and then our brain takes action based on those neurons. Jeff and some of his teammates, they built a system that could identify objects in photos. Okay, so now we're in 2012. Jeff and his team have published this research paper showing a neural network, right? And neural networks, again, they've been around for a very long time. They sell this idea to Google, and Google is like, hell yeah. They pay $44 million for Jeff and his students to come on board and use their services. So now we know that like even as early as 2012, neural networks and large language models were a thing. All right, so Google starts to build off of this, trying to do anything it can to replicate how a human would interact, whether it's through speech or written language or even identifying images. And while they're doing this, other companies are also using this research to do this too. Again, I'm talking about Jeff Hinton, but there are so many other researchers that I could give credit to. Okay, so OpenAI. OpenAI is founded in 2015. There's a lot of different people who are involved in OpenAI. It's funded by a lot of different people. Elon Musk was involved, Peter Thiel, Microsoft. It has a really long history. What OpenAI brings to the table is it starts using these tools that are being built by companies like Google, Microsoft. It starts using these tools to train large amounts of data. And we're talking like the entire internet. Like OpenAI is just like, let me put as much of my money as possible into like training the entire internet. They invested in being able to train huge amounts of data. That's what makes GPT-3, GPT 3.5, GPT-4 so powerful. Let's like recap what we just reviewed. So OpenAI is this company that built ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is a chatbot that you may or may not be using. It's all based on teaching a machine or a computer to learn like the human brain. Some of the biggest things that have come out of this, some of the biggest fears, some of the biggest worries are businesses going to be left behind if they don't immediately jump onto this technology? Are people going to be left behind? Are there jobs at these large companies or small companies that can be automated by these chatbots? Are you going to be left behind? If you have a skill set that can be automated by ChatGPT or that can be rapidly sped up by ChatGPT, are you going to have to find a totally new career? I've been hearing these questions quite a bit all year, and I'm super curious about them too. And then lastly, do I get to be Xenon, the girl of the 21st century? We still have yet to find out.